Welcome back to the Money Focus Podcast. I'm your host, Moses the Mentor. And on this episode, I'm thrilled to have Maxine Pittman with us. She's the founder of Tress Obsessed. Now, Maxine has revolutionized the beauty supply industry for women of color, offering trusted hair care brands in convenient travel sizes through an innovative vending machine model. So let's dive into her journey as well as her insights. Let's go.
So my name is Maxine Pittman. I am the owner of Tress Obsessed. We are a beauty, I would say we're a mix between beauty and vending machines. And we offer travel size hair care, convenience items, travel size skincare items focused on ethnic hair care and women of color, travelers of color in a vending machine concept, vending machine shopping experience. If we want to rewind and go back to where I originally started. I have 2 degrees in business, and I originally started working in sales. I realized that corporate America was not where I wanted to be for the rest of my life, which I'm sure a lot of your followers can probably empathize with. I have a mouth, and I don't have the personality to stay compliant in corporate America. So I'm just going to say that, and I'll leave it at that. I realized I want to build something for myself. And I not only wanted to build something for myself, but I have a lot of business owners that are in my family. They're also they do a lot of what you do in real estate. And I'm used to having entrepreneurs around me. And I feel like that's a little different from the typical story that we hear with a lot of Black owned business owners. A lot of them are first generation, American citizens or first generation college graduates or first generation entrepreneurs. And luckily, I'm so blessed I do have entrepreneurs within arm's reach that are related to me that have always been mentoring me since I was little. And I've always been able to see the main difference between my parents who are college grads and work in corporate America their whole life versus people who are entrepreneurs. And I knew that I wanted to always be an entrepreneur that could make my own hours, could come and go as I please. I didn't want to ask another grown person for when I can take vacation. And for me, I've always, as you can see, I've always experimented with my makeup and my hair. And that's how I've been my whole life. When I went viral with my business, people were like, "Oh, do you do hair?" No, I don't. "Oh, do you do nails?" No, I don't. I have a business degree and I have a love for beauty. And that's basically where this started. And I always wanted to do vending machines, especially when I was in college. But I didn't have, when you're a broke college student, you don't have the money to really start a business like that. So I kind of left it on the back burner. And then I realized during the pandemic, I'm always somebody that's okay, what is something that I can offer that nobody else is offering? And I wanted to so I'm originally from Los Angeles. I wanted to do a 24-hour beauty supply. That was going to be the original idea. And then all of a sudden the pandemic hit and everything shut down. And I was okay, I have friends who own businesses and they're trying to pay rent and pay mortgages and pay, on their spaces at their businesses. And I was okay, I'm not going to be able to do this and run a business during a pandemic at the same time. So I decided, I spoke with my mentor and I decided, you know what, I can still do this idea and still offer what I'm trying to offer, but I'm going to have to pivot and change how I'm going to offer this. And that's kind of when the vending machine came, the vending machine idea came to fruition. And I always say in different YouTube videos and interviews, that was my aha moment, because I was okay, I can merge travel, which is something I love doing. We've been seeing a huge jump in young Black travelers. A lot of us have disposable income because a lot of us are not having kids the same way our parents were. So a lot of us have these tech jobs where we're making 6 figures. And I wanted to merge 2 things that I loved, beauty and travel. And I was you know what? When I'm traveling different places, if I go to a 5-star hotel or if I'm at a 1-star motel, I've always noticed they don't have the hair care products, the free little travel size toiletries that they offer in the hotel rooms. None of that stuff is for our skin and none of that stuff is for our hair type. So I was maybe that's something that I can offer in these vending machines and merge 2 industries. And that's kind of, how it all came about.
Yeah, I mean, the best businesses are usually, solving a problem. So I like how you were creative with that, because the 24/7, beauty supply store, that do sound great.
Yeah.
If you tell me that now, I'm okay, I'm leaning in. But with the pandemic and stores being closed,
Yeah.
you were agile enough to know okay, I can't let this dream, fall by the wayside. I need to be creative.
Right.
And voila, then the vending machines pretty much helped, propel your business forward.
Definitely.
So talk us through like some of those challenges you had when you initially started, especially being that it was the pandemic.
I'm going to have PTSD. Like it's all a blur right now. But there were so many things like I feel like a business owner would only understand what I'm saying. Like when you first start a business and there's so many levels to everything that's going on, and then you throw a pandemic in there too, it's a lot. Like first of all, when I first ordered my vending machines, like my wholesale suppliers were like, we don't know if we're going to get the parts for the machine. And when you and anybody who's in vending machines will tell you, make sure that you sign your contract for your venue first and then get sign the contract on the venue and then purchase the machine after. So I had already and I explained this because I have an e-course and I have an ebook and I do some e-learning stuff as well for people who are trying to learn how to get into the vending machine industry. And I explain all of this in my e-course and my e-learning options that in the beginning, I had found a loophole on how to get a lot of different contracts at one time. So I got like 6 contracts within like 4 to 6 months. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to hurry up, get all these vending machines, boom, boom, boom. I learned a loophole as to how to get a lot of contracts with like big corporations at one time. When I first started my business, I was running myself into the ground like, okay, I'm going to call all of these companies. And you have to remember too, I was also still in corporate America. So I was like, okay, on my lunch break, I'm going to call these companies. I'll call 10 companies or 5 companies. And then when I get off work, and then I realized, well, I can't do that when I get off work because this 5 p.m., everybody's already gone from the office. So I was like, the only time I can do this is on my lunch break. And I was like, dang, like I'm not going to be able to call these people and be pitching my vending machine to all these different businesses. So what I ended up doing was breaking down a model and actually having a formula for how I was going to reach out to different corporations and get several locations at once. So, and I teach that. I teach it a little bit in my ebook, and then I go into it in detail in my e-course. But I had gotten like 6 contracts at one time within the first 4 to 6 months. And then I realized I was like, you know what? I need to scale this back because what I wasn't realizing is I wasn't doing my due diligence with figuring out whether or not my demographic was in these locations, figuring out what types of products they like, what's popular for them. So I had to go back to the drawing board on that. And then I started realizing like, okay, in terms of just hiring people, that was a whole nother thing. Like I've had to hire and fire people. Like anybody who runs a business will tell you. And I learned this from a mentor. And I know this sounds horrible. I'm sure some of your followers are going to be like, this sounds so mean. But they are like a lot of my mentors have told me hire slow and fire fast. Like don't be quick to hire these people. And then all of a sudden it doesn't work out when you could have been interviewing with somebody who was actually qualified, who actually wanted to do the job, who was reliable, who was competent, who was trainable and coachable, et cetera. And then, hire slow and fire fast. Once you realize that it's not working out, let that person go, let them go on about their life, and you guys go your separate ways. Because that's the quicker you let them go, the quicker you can find the right person for the role. So it was me juggling a lot of different things. I hired on a director of operations. She worked for Sally Beauty Supply as a board member, and she was a regional manager. So she knew a lot about different hair products. So she was of huge help and has been a key member on my team since basically the beginning. So just having her on my team and having us try to figure out how to navigate all these different spaces that we knew nothing about. Like I didn't know anything about vending machines. I had to learn. Took 11 months before I started my business to learn all of that. The only thing that I really knew about hair care, like I told you, I didn't do nails. I wasn't a hairstylist. I never owned a salon. So I had to learn about products that I had never used. And I also had to learn just how to be a leader and how to lead a team. And I said this before, like, yeah, I have a master's and a bachelor's in business, but they teach you just the operational day-to-day stuff. They don't teach you about when stuff goes wrong, when you run out of money, when your employee is acting crazy and threatening you, when your customers are acting crazy and threatening you. There's so many different factors that go into running a business and things that we ran into in the beginning. But I always think about the quote that says, the problems don't get easier, you just get better at it. And that's what ended up happening over time.
That's a great quote. And, being that it's so difficult, most people will give up. So if you get better, you're going to be 1,000 times ahead of, most people, So the goal is to just really, accept those bumps and bruises along the way, embrace the journey, process improve. That's what I really talk about a lot. I like
Yeah.
to really, I'm a visual person, so I have boards everywhere. Anywhere it's a gap or anywhere there it could be an easier solution, I'm going to, implement that to
Yeah.
kind of make the whole process a whole lot, more effective.
Definitely.
Um, but I did want to ask you a few things just to make sure I'm following and also the audience. So you had noted that you like to get the contracts first, right?
Mhm.
So, once someone says you call my business and I have a company, Moses thrift store or whatever, right? And you say, hey, I want to put a machine in your location. I take it that maybe you're just pitching like the concept, like you don't necessarily have to show them the machine or anything like that. Is it like a certain time frame that you have to say, hey, within 90 days, I can have it up and running? Like, how does that conversation
Yeah, and
work?
there's a whole and again, just like with anything in business, there's a whole process, and different people will have like an onboarding process for new clients and new contracts that they get. Some venues do want to see, a mock-up of what the machine looks like to make sure that it fits in the location, to make sure. And when I say fits, I don't actually just mean physically, but make sure that it fits with what they're already offering their clients and what they're already doing. Like, for instance, we have a Atlanta location at the Underground. And when we first got that location, they wanted to make sure, like, okay, does this fit what we're also offering with other food carts and, other concepts of businesses that are in this venue. So, it's a whole process. But yes, to answer your question, some businesses are like, we want to see what it looks like. Some businesses don't care. And they're like, let's get to the money. Like, this is how much your rent is. This is how much you're going to pay with this, pay with that, and then you start negotiating with that. So, and it's not cookie cutter. I feel like with vending machines that offer like sandwiches, snacks, food, I feel like that industry has been around so long that there is a cookie cutter procedure. But with beauty vending, there's not. Like, sometimes you're literally making stuff up on the fly to make sure that things, look presentable, look professional, fit your brand, etc. So
Gotcha. And, it sounds like being that since you're one of the, people at the front of this wave, you can kind of help shape what the standard is. So
yeah.
that's pretty cool. When it comes to the type, like the vending machines in itself, is there a certain type of vending machine that's suitable for this industry? Or, you mentioned sandwiches and, other snacks. Or is it literally the same type of machine? Or is it something specific for your brand?
So, I mean, I've seen a ton, being in this, it's going to be, next year will be coming up on 4 years that I've been doing this. And I've seen a lot of my competitors have similar vending machines to me, meaning touch screens. I've seen the types of vending machines where, we're all used to seeing the vending machines with glass where you can actually see the items inside and you can see it fall and drop and et cetera. But they have new, real high tech machines. And again, these machines are $18,000 to $25,000 machines, but the machines that have just a gigantic touch screen and you can't see what's actually in the machine, you can just select what you want off the touch screen. But because of like AI and technology and all of that, we're seeing a lot of different types of beauty vending machines. And because it is beauty, and again, you have to know what your customers like. Like, I'm going to give you an example. I know that there's a girl, I don't remember her business name, but there was a girl a few years back during the pandemic who was offering like beauty, convenience. When I say convenience items, I mean like Q-tips, like deodorant, stuff like that, convenience items. And she had her vending machine in a gas station. If you're in a gas station, then a lot of people are not going to care what the vending machine looks like. Like, it can just be, you can just spend $1,000 on a used vending machine and just make sure that it takes cash and credit card and people won't care. But when you're in big venues, like luxury venues, like if you were at the Venetian in Las Vegas, or if you were in a big, nice stadium, or if you were in an airport, these types of venues, they care what the machine looks like, meaning it has to be top notch. It has to work correctly. Your marketing has to look good. Everything has to be solid to a T. That was another big difference between the vending machines that people buy for, you know, to do snacks and all that kind of stuff versus the vending machines that I have and some of my competitors have. Because I feel like during the pandemic, people got a lot of false information. People were like, oh, I can do beauty vending machines and just spend $1,000 or $500 on a used vending machine and just throw some hair product. No, that's not how it works. Especially if you want your brand to be around in 5 or 10 years. If you don't care, then have at it. But if you actually care about your brand and what you're bringing to the table and something that's going to have your name and your face on it, you can't operate in that way. So, you know, it all depends on your venue. It all depends on how you want to represent yourself and also the amount of money that you have. So
Yeah.
that's another thing. So
Yeah, I mean, you know, ladies, they gonna spend some money on their beauty products. So why put something that looks like, you
right,
know, so
right,
cheap and then try to put some high end products in there? It just doesn't match. It has to match up the visual, the experience, and
definitely.
speaking of experience, because you did note that you have a location in Atlanta, you have locations in areas that you don't currently live in. Like, how
Mhm.
does that work? How do you manage, your vending business from afar? Talk to us about
Yeah,
that.
that's so funny because I had this conversation. I have like a text chat with like other women, and we all do vending machines. And some of us do beauty, some of us do just regular snack vending machines, but we all do vending machines so we can talk to each other and vent and do all that kind of stuff. And we were just having this conversation because one of the women that I know, she's in Florida and she does snack vending machines. And another girl I was speaking to, she's like, how do you just have vending machines in a state that you don't live in? And I was like, you just hire people. And I said it very easily, just off because I mean, I'm like, it's just like that's like talking to somebody like that started McDonald's and they live in Ohio, but they have a McDonald's in Connecticut. And they're like, well, how do you run your McDonald's? You hire people. Like that's what you're doing business. You hire people. And they're like, you trust these people? And I'm like, well, there are systems and operations. That's what an SOP is. It stands for systems, operations, procedures, where you figure out, okay, this is what I can trust this person with. And then sometimes you have to ease people into it. Sometimes you can't like give people the keys to the cash box on day one. You got to see 6 months out if you can trust them on different things. Like, and that's with any type of hiring that you do for any business. Like, have there been issues that I've had where I've hired somebody and they don't turn out well and I got to fly out to the vending machine and fire them? Absolutely. It has happened. I don't like it, but that's what doing business is.
Yeah.
And then also with hiring, you have to figure out what your threshold is. Like, and when I say threshold, I'm talking about you have to know your location. Like if it's a slower location and you can get away with not like I've had a location that was so slow that I could get away with visiting that machine every 2 months or once a month or every 3 months. And I didn't have to necessarily hire somebody and pay them every 2 weeks or pay them
Yeah.
their monthly, salary. And then, I can just check the machine myself, or I can have my fiance check it, or, whoever. So, and I've also had vending machines, and like I got lucky when I had a vending machine in Los Angeles. If I have a family member or something that lives close to that area, I can just leave a set of keys there and have them check it every week or every other week. And, and so it just depends. It's so many different things. But like you said, it's a new industry. So you're trying to figure out what works for your business.
It's a mindset, and I asked you that question partly for the audience because I told you before we jumped on, I have rental properties and 800 miles away. Like you mentioned, it's systems, it's hiring people. Like you noted earlier, hire slow, fire fast, and because you don't let your geographic, a location prevent you from exploring the national possibilities, the national market, even international market. I'm not doing anything international currently, but don't be in a box when it comes to your money. If there's a better opportunity that's in another state, then figure out how to make it happen. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm sure you crunch your numbers and you said, hey, for me to pay this rent location, for me to supply the machine the right way, to buy the machine the right way, and also have X number of employees, I would need to, charge this much, make this much, do this much. And that's what having a business is. It's
Absolutely.
not just going to be handed to you. You gotta do the work.
You gotta get in the mud. And that's, I mean, essentially that's what I was doing with the business. Like I had friends that were like, I would never expand my business to a different state. I like to be close to my friends and family. I was like, you're going to miss out on a lot of money like that. You're going to leave a lot of money on the table. I mean, if somebody called me tomorrow and was like, hey, we want to put your vending machine in London airport or in Africa or in somewhere in Europe or wherever, I'm not going to pass up that opportunity. And I'll, have to bump my head and learn those lessons as I go with running an international location too. But I'm not going to pass that up just because I'm scared to expand outside of the city that I live in.
Yeah, that message, I hope that message comes across loud and clear for people because I hear that a lot. And it's really one of those things that will keep you in a broke mindset. Like you got to get out of that. So, the best way to look at it too, and then I'll jump into something else, is if someone invests in Apple, are you worried about what Tim Cook is doing? Or do you just simply, it's like, if you won't worry about what Tim Cook is doing, why won't you do it for yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, your money you investing in these companies, they putting it to work, doing what they need to do, implementing their systems. Why don't you put your own money to work, implement your systems, and you actually get a greater return?
Right.
I'm just saying.
Right. Absolutely. And be strategic. I mean, like I said, there's a strategy to everything and there's an easier way to everything too. I mean, if I could take what I have now and go back to day one, oh my gosh, I would have so much time saved, so much money saved, so much stress and headaches and gray hair saved. But, that's what the journey is. You're learning as you're going. So.
When you actually, contact us, a potential client, what are like the top objections that you might get? Just curious.
I haven't pitched in a while because the venues that I'm pitching now are way bigger than the venues I used to pitch. Like, and I'll give you an example. So when we first started out, we were doing military bases, shopping malls. Now we're pitching to hotels, stadiums, airports that are having hundreds of thousands of people versus, 1,000 people or a few hundred people walking past our vending machines every day. So the pitch, and you also have to understand the process is totally different. When you're getting into these larger venues, you are going up against other big corporations. So it's not really, you're not pitching the same way. Like you're not getting on the phone and pitching the same way as you would with these smaller venues. So I haven't pitched in a while. I still practice my pitches just because I like to stay on top of things and sharp with pitching. But the conversations and the objections back then were more so like, oh, well, we already have that type of concept in our mall, because as the pandemic was picking up, other women and men were trying to get into beauty vending machines that were also pitching their machines. So it was a lot of people starting to pitch the beauty vending concept to these different venues. And some of them were a bit overwhelmed with the big wave at that time. So most of the objections were, well, why would we need that for our clients? Or, we already have something like that in our venue. We don't need something else. Or like if a venue already has a hair salon or a barbershop, you have to understand, because the beauty vending concept, like the beauty vending machines, is still new. Sometimes when you're pitching, they don't even understand what you're talking about. Like some of these venues will think that you're talking about a beauty salon or like a beauty supply store or a barbershop. And they'd be like, oh, well, we already have a barbershop. And I'm like, no. That's not the same thing. And you have to honestly break it down and make sure that the receiving end, the people on the receiving end, understand what type of concept you're talking about and how it can benefit their venue and how they can bring something fresh and new to their shopping patrons versus what they already have.
Yeah, it's a lot of education, it sounds like. Hey, before you say no, let me make sure you have an understanding of what's actually going on. So that's key. How do you maintain the quality and also the innovation of your services as you scale? That's pretty difficult at times, but how are you doing?
Yes. So I try my best to stay on top of trends. Like I have Google alerts that go off on my phone, on my laptop constantly. I'm constantly reading through articles online to see like, who are my newest competitors? What are they doing? I'm watching people on social media, seeing what worked for them, what didn't work for them. And what a lot of people, and I hope they're hearing me when I say this, if you're somebody that wants to get into beauty vending, it's going to be similar to snack vending. Like, I'm going to give you guys an example. So if you're, let's say that you have a hotel that you have a snack vending machine in, and then you have a car wash that you have a snack vending machine in, and Twinkies do really, really well at your snack vending machine in the hotel, but not at the car wash. So you're not gonna keep putting them in that machine at the hotel. You're gonna take them out and figure out another product. So how do you do that? You get feedback from your customers. You also will watch your competitors. You also will see, okay, what new hair care brands are coming out with new products that are in travel sizes that people like. So I do all of the above, and I have the people on my team do all of the above. And then also the different people that maintain my vending machines, I'll ask them like, hey, when you see customers at the vending machines, talk to them, see what kind of products they want to see from us, see what they're interested in, see what they like, see what they don't like, get feedback from them. So I do all of the above. I'm getting ready to do another product launch at the end of, not September, but the end of October, going into holiday season, because there's a bunch of new products I want to take off of our website, and new products that I've been I will do quarterly surveys. I just recently started doing quarterly surveys with our Instagram, TikTok, Twitter audiences to see what people want to see from us. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from that, which I love. So there's a lot of products we're going to be, not a lot, but there's a few products that aren't working well that we're going to take off the website. And then new products we're going to be bringing in that people are telling us that they want to see. And we're going to make sure that we have them available on our website as well as in our vending machine location. So
what would you say is, you gave us a lot of sneak peeks of things that you're doing. It sounds like you're working with larger clients. Sounds like you have an e-course. What are you expecting to do with your business moving forward? What are some of your big plans that you want to tell the audience about so we can support you ultimately?
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So we have two different types of clients. So first, I'm going to talk to the clients who are only interested in travel size hair care. When we launched back in March of 2021, we went viral. We went, and everybody who has followed us for a while, they know that we were featured on BuzzFeed, and we were featured on the Shade Room and in different podcasts just like yours and different YouTube channels. And, everyone was saying, when are you going to be in airports? When are you going to be in airports? So we are now certified to be an airport vendor in 7 states right now. I'm not going to say what states those are, because obviously we don't know when we will be getting a contract. It takes a long time to get an airport contract. Sometimes 2-3 years. So I don't want to make any promises on that, but we are working very diligently to start getting airport locations. Obviously, we want to be in states where our customers are, the East Coast, the New Yorks and the New Jerseys. We want to be down in the South. We want to be in Miami. We want to be down in Florida. We want to be in Atlanta, Georgia. We want to be in some of the southern states like Texas, like Mississippi, Alabama. And then we also want to be up top, Chicago, Indiana, some of those types of places, Memphis, Tennessee as well. So there's a ton of different things that we're working on right now. So for the travel size hair care stuff, if you are not in Atlanta, because that's where our main vending machine is right now, if you're in Atlanta, you can find us at the Underground. That's where our vending machine location is. If you're not in Atlanta, you can always purchase with us on our website. We offer over 60 different products from over 30 different brands that are all travel size, ethnic hair care products and convenience items. Everything is 4 ounces or less. So it's easy for you to travel with it, throw it in your purse, your suitcase, your luggage, carry on, et cetera, your duffel bag. And that's exactly what we created it for the traveler of color. And then on the e-learning side, if you are someone who is looking to get into beauty vending machines or just vending machines in general, if you don't know where to start, we sell templates. Our templates are like $40 each, I believe. We get a lot of people who have already started their vending machine companies, but they just need some guidance. That's what the templates are for. They're easy, $40 each. And I think we offer like 10 different templates, checklists, guides, things like that. And then if you're somebody who's just starting out and you actually need, a little bit more attention, you're somebody who wants to learn the whole industry, we do offer an e-course. It's called the Beauty Vending Business Academy. It's 8 different modules with 43 different lessons. We walk you through all different things. I give you a template where you can actually use our investor deck and our business pitch deck template as well. And you get all of our vendor lists. It comes with a ton of stuff, but it gives you all the tools that you need to get started. That is $12.99 right now. And we do payment plans on that. If you're somebody that's looking to do that and get into the industry, start making some money doing, beauty vending machines and getting into this industry. So that's what we're offering right now.
Well, yeah, you broke it down on how we can support you. I'm very much interested in my guests and their business, so I might be a little nosy, but
Yeah.
just thinking about it, I looked at your website. I love the vending business. Have you ever thought about, or maybe it's in the works, maybe you tried whatever, but have you ever thought about potentially making your own products, or that ever
White
been?
label, yeah, white
Yeah.
labeling. No, just because people have asked me that before. It doesn't come up a lot, but no, I haven't. That's not really of interest for me, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
My business brain just kind of walks through. It's like, hey, maybe the margins, well, it probably would be a whole lot better. You have such a beautiful website, logo, and everything. Great name. So, they throw that out there, even if it's something, one of your products that you service, and it's like, hey, this is my version or whatever,
yeah. Well, and I feel like because being in the beauty industry now with these vending machines, I have a lot of friends who have, small business friends who have their own white label brands, and I see everything they're going through, and I'm like, oh no,
it's a lot.
You're a man, so you might not recognize this, but when you go into
I have a beard.
when you have a
lot
beard,
of beard care stuff that really is finding the right one. It's very much Devo like, let me say.
Devo, I love that. Yeah, and I mean, so you probably know, like when you go into the Targets and the CVSs and the Walgreens of the world, we're fighting, as small business, Black-owned business owners, we're fighting for shelf space. We're fighting to be seen. Yeah. And then if you add in like celebrities who are starting all their own hair care brands, the Tracy Ellis Rosses and the Taraji P. Hensons and the Beyoncés, of the world, it's very, very hard. And I feel like it's hard enough to be a business owner. For me, I'm all about I feel like millennials have a very hard time staying focused with like one thing that they want to do. And me, I was like, you know what? We're going to draw this back. I need to be laser focused on what I'm going to do. And I want to take my business to the $1 million mark before I even start bringing in, because if you bring in white labels, you got to bring in distribution and warehouses and all these other things. And I feel like for me, I just want to focus on making sure that Tress Obsessed is a whole, a household name before I start dabbling my hand in other things. So
that's perfectly fair. And we all become, a victim of our creativity at times. So it sounds like, your measure of success right now is being, world renowned as a beauty vending business. Right. And then, as you get to that next tier, if you want to add some white label, have at it, you can do it. Right? Cool. All right. Perfect. So I know you mentioned, and I appreciate it too, very transparent about the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. But I wanted to ask you so far, like, what's been the most rewarding aspect of being an entrepreneur?
Oh my God, you're going to make me cry. There's a lot of things. I mean, if I look back at this, like, I know that the person that I am now is completely different than who I was 3 years ago. And I feel like when you work in corporate America so long, you have such a consumer tunnel vision. And then when you become a business owner, you look at business completely different. When I buy an iPhone, I look at it completely different. When I go to shop for a t-shirt or, I order something online, I look at the process completely different than the way that I used to as a consumer and as somebody in corporate America. And there's so many things that you learn, not about just business, but things that you learn about yourself in the process. So I think that is a part of it. Like I have something, I always tell my dad, like if I die today, I can always be like, okay, if you go online and you type in my name, people know who I am. They know who my brand is. And it may not be a lot of people. It might be 10,000 or 30,000 people, but people know who I am. And they know that I was, I'd come into rooms to shake things up. And also at the end of the day, if I'm looking at generations that are coming after me, the Gen Alpha or Gen Z and Gen Alpha, the younger kids, I have, and there's always a picture that I remember in my head. I remember there was a Black mother that I don't know if she tweeted or she tagged us in a photo, and she had like her 6-year-old daughter that saw, if you see my vending machines, you'll see like pictures of me and women that look like me on my vending machines. And her daughter was in shock, like, wow, like this is the owner of this brand. And she had her daughter take a photo next to it. And it's like that representation. Her daughter might have been like, oh, okay, I want to be a teacher, or I want to be a fireman, or, whatever the case may be. And now she's like, I can be a business owner too. And I feel like we need to make sure that on top of, we talk all about financial literacy and generational wealth, but, owning your own business, I feel like as Black people, we need to make sure that we aren't just consumers, and not everybody wants to be a business owner, and that's fine too. But making sure that those options are available to you and that you can actually visualize those for yourself. So I think that's the most rewarding, is just seeing younger women, and even women my age will come up to me and be like, you inspire me. You put the fire under my butt to start my own business. When I saw you on this platform, I saw you doing this interview, and I'm like, y'all make me cry. I'm like trying to hold back my tears. So I think that's the most rewarding part of it.
Those are great reasons to keep doing what you're doing. I agree that not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but I also think not everybody should be an entrepreneur too, because there's.
I was going to say that, but I'm glad you said that for me, because I was going to say that. So
it's nothing wrong with a job for people that need to be in that lane. And I help people with that aspect too. If you're a corporate person and you can thrive there, I can help you with interviews. I can help you with, your leadership presence. But if you truly have that entrepreneurial grit and you have the right mindset, then you're doing yourself a disservice to just be in the corporate world. You really are.
I'm so glad that you said that, because I need to work on my patience as a business owner, because I think I went over this already. Like, I do have my e-learning and my coaching where I have my e-course, and I always tell my mentees, like, I'm not the person that you want to mentor you. I promise. Like, people are like, you need to mentor me. Please mentor me. And I'm like, no. Like, take my e-course. It will tell you everything that you need to know. I'm not like, that's probably why I don't have children, because I'm not somebody who's patient enough to be like, I'm going to walk you through all of this. Like, I'm more so the person that's like, hey, you need to come with this business mindset and be ready to hop in, and I'll give you all the tools that you need and show you the exact formula that I use to do it so that you can start making money too. But I'm not that person that's going to be like, let me massage you. You can do this. That's not the game over here.
That's cool. So, great advice. Before we close out, shout out your how we can reach you one more time. So the best way to reach you on social media, how can we tap into your course? So the floor is yours. I just want you to let us know.
Yes. So if you're looking to purchase travel size hair care, and we will be having, I think we're launching like 10 different product lines coming for the holiday season in October. So look out for that. Our website is www.Tress Obsessed. Tress is like your hair, so it's TRESS, and obsessed. So TressObsessed.com if you want to shop with us, or if you have a trip coming up and you're looking for travel size hair care products for your hair type, that is where you can find us. If you are looking for the e-course, e-learning, our business academy information, that's on our website as well. You can just go under e-learning, and you can actually, if you're somebody who's like, you know what, I'm broke, I just want to see, what she has to offer. We do offer a free masterclass too. So you can start with that first. And then if you want to, do any of our templates or our e-course, we have payment plans for all of that. And you can see that on our website under the e-learning tab. And then if you want to find us on social media, we are Tress Obsessed LA on Instagram, Tress Obsessed LA on Twitter. We are Tress Obsessed on TikTok, and then Tress Obsessed Beauty on Facebook.
And I'll make sure to include all your contact information in the show notes. So no worries. So anybody who's watching or listening, just check the notes or the episode description. So thank you so much for joining the show. Great conversation, and we're out.
Yes. Thank you, Moses. Bye.